So hello everybody. So by the way, I'm Alimar El Urtal, and today I'm gonna show you how to create a program using a structured type declaration. So first, let us identify the exercise. So the exercise is to create a program that makes use of the given structure type below to represent a product database. So the program can accept 5 product records or above. So the program allows the user to do any of the following 6 tasks. Allow also the user to repeat or do several tasks as he or she wishes. So first choice is to input a new product record. So you need to input all fields except the sales. Next is display all the existing product records. Make a purchase, input the product's ID purchased by the customer and the quantity purchased. And display the product record with the highest sales. Display the records with zero quantity. Display the product records with discount. So now, let's proceed in creating a program. So before we initialize the program, let us first know the header files. So in the header files, we can see the stdio.h. So these header files so structure type declaration is used to keep all the informations regarding any variable. So example is product and other is students or etc. So we use the structure type declaration to keep all of this information in a one structure, which is the product. So we use this structure type declaration so that we don't need to declare one by one fields of any product. So for example, you have 5 products, so you need to place the float running sales 1, the float running sales 2, 3, 4, 5, and also for the other fields. So let's now begin in explaining the program. So first we have the struct, which is the structure keyword, the product, and next is the open bracket, and next is to declare all the variables, all the fields of a product. So we use the float for the running sales, integer for purchase, integer for the num, integer for the number of stocks, character for the product ID, character for the product name, float for the discounted amount, float for the total amount, integer for the quantity, and also float for the price, integer for the discount, and double for the sales. So don't forget to place a semicolon which is used to declare a variable. Next is the close bracket and also a semicolon. So next is another syntax of a structure, which is the struct keyword, the product, and this time we have the product, the P, which is the variable of a product, and declaration of how many products can be inputted in the program, and a semicolon. So next is to declare the main functions, which we used is the integer main function. Next is the open bracket. So as you can see, we have another declarations of fields or the variables inside the program. So these declarations are also used not only in the structure but to the whole program. So you can see these declarations in the entire program. So we do not include these variables or fields in the structure of the product because they are not only applicable in the structure of the product, but it is applicable in the entire program. So we have the integer menu, the integer x, j, l, the integer purchase, the integer I, which represents the input, the integer storage, or where the inputted records will be stored, and integer index. So as a brief explanation, we use the data type integer for the menu and the other declarations because integer type only accepts a whole numbers. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's proceed to the next. So next thing to do is to use a do while loop. So a do while loop is used to execute the body of a program by first execute the first the loop body and then check the condition. So once the condition is true, then it executes the loop body again or go to repeat. And now if the condition is false, so this time the do while loop will terminate. So we have another execution flow of the do while loop. So B, if condition is initially false, the loop body will never be executed. So let's now begin the do while loop. So first, on the syntax, we have the open bracket, the statement 1, the statement 2. So in our program, we have the open bracket. So first, we have the statements which are used, which are placed to display on screen first before executing any statements. So first, we have so inside the do while loop, we used a case statement. So we have the choices 1, 2, the case 3, case 4, case 5, and case 6. So these cases are used as the statements inside our do while loop. So as you can see in the statements, it is where we can let the user choose what to do in a program. So as you can remember in the exercise, we have the choices. So first, to let the user choose an action, then scanf, which means to read the inputted informations by the user. Then next is the switch menu, which are the cases. The case 1. So inside the case 1, we have these conditions. So first is the storage plus equals to I. So this expression is equivalent to, so this expression means that storage, or the storage for the records, will be equal to the input. So the informations that the users will input in the program. So next is for the another product that the user will input, the storage will be equal to I plus the previous storage. So that is the current storage. So if the user will input another information, so the storage will be equal to storage is equals to the new input informations plus the previous storage. So that it will go the same for the coming programs that the user will input. So next is we have the printf product information entry, which will be displayed on the screen. And as you can see, we have the condition which is in for loop. So a for loop has this syntax: for loop keyword. First we have the expression 1, expression 2, which is separated by the semicolon, and next is the expression 3, which is separated by a semicolon. So after that we have the statements. So for example, we have the statement 1, statement 2. So as you can see in our product, we have the for loop keyword, which is 4. Next is our expression 1, which is x is equals to index. Next is expression 2, which is x is less than the storage. And expression 3, which is the x plus plus, or which is equivalent to x increment of, which is x increment, so which means that your x will increase 1. So in the for loop syntax, these are the things that we need to take note. So first is expression 1 is the initialization, 0 or more statements separated by a comma. The expression 2 is 0 or 1 conditional expression. And expression 3 is update, or 0 or more statements. So as you can see in our for loop, we have the 3 expressions. So based on the information that you have to take note. First we have the x is equals to index, which is the initialization. So it's either 0 or 1 conditional statements. So as you can see, x is equals to index. So lately we have declared that index is equals to 0. So based on the informations, we have that x is equals to index, which is equals to 0. So x is equals to 0, or x starts with 0. So next we have the expression 2, which is x is less than storage, which also 0 or 1 conditional statements. So lately we have declared that storage is equals to 0, or starts with 0. So based on the expression 2, we have that x is less than storage. So it means that x is less than 0. Next is the expression 3, which is x plus plus, which means that your x will increase by 1. Since we're done with the for loop syntax, so let's now proceed with the execution flow of the for loop. So here is the execution flow of the for loop. So first is to execute the expression 1. The next is, if the condition is true, then that's the time that execute the loop body. But when the condition is false, then the loop body will terminate, so it will stop. So after executing the expression 1, then execute the expression 3. Then just follow the next procedure with the expression 1, which is to check the condition. If true, then execute the loop body. If false, then the loop will terminate. As you can see in our execution flow of for loop, we haven't seen the expression 2 being stated. It is because based on the second execution flow, we have the check the condition. So in this case, the expression 2 is the condition, because based on what you have taken note lately, expression 2 is equals to the 0 or 1 or the conditional expression. So expression 2 is the condition expression. So let's now try executing our program. So first, the program will execute the expression 1. The expression 1, which is in our program, the expression 1 is equals to x is equals to index. So it means that x starts with 0. So next is to check the condition. So let us check the expression 2. If the expression 2 is true, then that's the time that the program will execute the loop body. But otherwise, if the condition is false, that's the time that the program will terminate the for loop body. So based on the program, we have that. So let us first, so the program will first execute the expression 1. So x is equals to 0 or starts with 0. So next is check the condition. So check the expression 2. X is less than storage. So lately we had discussed that storage is equals to the I plus the previous storage. So meaning, as the user will input informations, the storage will increase. So it means that since x starts with 0, then expression 2 x is less than storage. Since storage increases from time to time, the user will input an information. So 0 is less than the storage. So based on the condition or the expression 2, the condition is true. So that's the time that the program will execute the loop body, which is to first is to print, to display the information which requires the ID, then reads the input and store it to the storage or to the records. Next is display the required name, read the input. Next is to display the required price Next is required discount in percent. And last is the required number of stocks. So all of these informations will be read and will be stored in the storage. So as you can see in this part, we have the px.id, px.name, px.price, and px.discount, and px.stocks. So this statement means that product ID, which represented by the ID code, belongs to the structure of the P of structure of the product. So it belongs to that structure. And also for the name, price, discount, and stocks, since it is the way which the structure type declaration works. It is used to keep all these informations together or in one storage. But before proceeding with the next expression, as you can see at the bottom, we have the same statement with the storage, which is index plus equals to 1. Means that the index will be equal to 1 plus the inputted or the current index. So from here, we have, after the first expression executed, which is x starts with 0 or x starts with the index, which is 0, so after the expression 1 was executed by the program, then the storage now will have the new value, which is the storage plus the new input. So now let's proceed to the expression 3. So the program now will execute the expression 3. So based on the expression x plus plus, which means that the operand will be increased by 1. After the execution of the expression 3, the program will then check the condition. So since from the expression 3, x plus plus, which x starts from 0, then now it is incremented by 1, so x is now equals to 1. So now let's check. So the program will then check the condition, x is less than storage. So lately, after the expression 1 was executed, the storage has now the new value. So it means that it is not only 1. It is because the previous storage plus the new input, so it has the greater value than the value of x, which is 1. So x is less than storage, so it is true. Then that's the time that the program will execute the loop body. So case 1 was executed smoothly. So next, after the execution of the loop body and after the execution of all the expressions, then case 1 will be break. Break means that, or it causes the innermost enclosing loop or switch to be terminated immediately. So it applies for the for loop, while do loops, and switch. So in our program, we have the case 1 statements, or the switch statements. So the break will be applied. So this break means that after the expressions executed and after the loop body executed, then our case 1 will be terminated immediately. So after the case 1 was terminated, the program will then proceed to these statements. So first we have the statement will appear on the screen, which asking if asking the user if they want to continue. So the choices are yes for 1, or 1 for yes, and 0 for no. So once the user's choice is 1, then this statement will be executed. If while mino is equals to 1, then the program will go back or repeat to these statements. Based on the syntax of the do-while loop, we have these expressions or statements. First is do, then the statement 1, which are the cases, or statement 2. Then after each cases will be executed, then the program will then will ask if do you want to repeat. So the choices are yes or no. So if the answer of the user is yes, then execute the loop body, and then again, then the program will go to or repeat the first statements. So after the execution of the case 1, so assuming that the user chooses the 1 or the yes choice, so then the program will go back to the statements. So it will ask another choice if what the user will want to do. So assuming that the user chooses to do the second task, then that's the time that we will proceed to the case 2. So in case 2, this case is all about displaying all the recorded inputs from the user. So these are the records that are stored in the storage. So first we have the open bracket, which means that the statements begins. Then first is the phrase that will be appear in the screen, and next is we have again the for loop. So since I already discussed earlier how the for loop was executed, so let's now proceed in executing this case. So first, let us execute. The program will first execute the expression 1. So in this case, initialization was represented by J. So from the expression, J is equals to 0. So J starts with 0. So after the expression 1 was executed, which stated that J starts when 0, then the program will now check the condition. So the condition is J is less than storage. It means that 0 is less than storage. So since the storage now has the new record, so it means that the storage is greater than 0. So since expression 1 is true, then it will execute the statements. First, we have pay of J, which is represented, which represents this case. J running sales indicates that running sales belong to the structure of the product is equals to running sales plus the total amount. So total amount means that, or represents, the purchase by the user. If we will follow the cases, if we have first executed the 1, so it means that the sales is equals to 0. So by the way, running sales represents the sales. So at this case, since the user had just inputted information about a product, so it means that the sales is 0 since there is no purchase happened. So this is how we get the sales. Next is the product ID, name, price, discount, quantity purchased, sales, and the number of stocks. So these statements will only display on the screen based on what the information inputted on the storage based on the case 1. So the same with case 1, we have the pay of J dot ID, which means that ID belong to the structure of the product P. The same with the name, price, discount, purchase, running sales, and the stock. So after that, the expression 3 will now then executed by the program. So expression 3 states that J plus plus, which means that J increments. So it means that J will be added or increased by 1. So from the first expression, J starts with 0. So now J starts with 1. And the program will then check the condition. J is less than storage. So storage is not 0 or 1 because it is the summation of storage of the previous storage plus the new information inputted by the user. So 1 is less than storage. So expression 3 is true. Then that's the time that the program will execute the loop body. Then after the expression 1 and expression 3 and the loop body was executed, then the break statement applied, which means that case 2 was terminated. Then, after case 2 was executed or terminated, then the program will ask the user if he or she want to continue. So assuming that the user chooses the continue or yes, so it will again ask the user for this task. So this time, let's assume that the user chooses the task 3, which is to make a purchase. So we'll now proceed to the case 3. So here is the case 3 from the choices. So at this case, the program will allow the user to make a purchase based on the products that the user inputted or stored in the storage. So first, the program, or we have declared the character for search. So search will be used when the user inputted a product ID to make a purchase. So first, we have the printf product purchase, which means that product purchase that the user will want to purchase, it will display on screen. Next that will display on screen is to ask the user for the product ID. So these product IDs will depend on what the user stored on the storage. So the user will just input the previous IDs that were stored in the storage. Then after the user inputted the product ID, then it reads the input, then executes the search. Then after that, it will proceed to this for loop. So first, let us execute the expression 1. So x starts with 0. Then after that, the program will check the condition. X is less than storage. So as we know, storage is not equal to 0 because it has a value in it, recorded in it. It means that x, which is 0, is less than the storage. So it is true, then the loop body will be executed. So inside our for loop, we have the if-else statement. So if-else statement has this syntax. First is, if expression 1 and the preceding statements so expression in this case is represented by a condition. So based on our program, the expression here is the search is equals to a product ID, which is the previous IDs, or the search is equals to any product ID on the records. Then the program will execute this content or the body. Otherwise, or else if the product ID were not searched or found, then this statement will be executed. So it will display on screen that the product not found, or the product ID was not found, then that's the time that this case will execute, caused by the break, then proceeds to the choice which is allows the user to choose between yes or no, or to choose if he or she wants to continue the program. Then it goes back to these statements again. So after the case 3 was executed, so this time let's assume that the user choose the task 4, which is to display the product record with the highest sales. So let's now proceed to the case 4. So here is the case 4 statements. So in case 4, we again declared another field of the product, or another element. So we have here the highest, which means the running sales, which depends on the running sales. It is declared as integer since it is a whole number. Next is integer index high is equals to 0, or high starts with 0. Then let's proceed to the for loop condition. So first, the program will execute the expression 1. So I is equals to 1. It means that I starts from 1, then will then proceed to the condition which I is less than storage. So as you can remember, we have this statement here, which is storage plus or equals to I, which means that storage is equals to I, which is the input by the user, plus the previous storage. So in case 4, since I is equals to 1, then storage, or the previous storage, has a value plus the plus 1, which is I is equals to 1, then I is less than storage. Then that's the time that the program will execute this content. Again, there is another if. So if statement has this syntax. Syntax is if expression. This expression again represents the condition, then the preceding, then it will execute the statement. So in the program we have, if the running sales is greater than the highest, then highest is equals to running sales. Then index high is equals to the input products. So this represents the highest sales of the product. So which one has the highest sales? So after this, these statements will now then executed. So first is the product ID of the product that has the highest sales. So first we have this statement p index high.id, which means that the product ID displayed belong to the product with the highest sales. And also for the product name, price, discount, quantity purchased, sales, and stocks. Then after that, the break will be applied. So this case will be terminated. Then it will again, the program will then again ask the user to choose another task. So assuming the user choose the fifth task, which is to display all the product records with zero quantity. Then let's proceed to the case 5. So case 5 has these statements. So first is to display on screen the products with zero quantity. Then proceed to the for loop. So the product will execute the expression 1. So x is equals to 0, or x starts from 0. Then since storage on the previous cases is not equal to 0, or it has a value which is greater than 0, then x or 0 is less than storage. Then that's the time that these statements will then be executed. So we have here again an if statement. So syntax of if statement is if expression, so the expression is the condition which states that if the stocks minus the purchase is equals to 0, then these statements will be executed. So first we displayed will be product records. So the formula in finding the current sales, so running sales is equals to the running or the previous running sales plus the total amount or the total amount purchased by the user. So again, we have seen this form, which means that again these running cells belong to the structure of the product. So it will then display the product ID, which has the zero quantity, the product name, price, the discount of the product, the quantity purchased, the sales, and the number of stocks on the product. So again, p of x.id, which means that ID belongs to the product structure, and the same with the other elements. So after it will be displayed or executed, then the break will be applied, or the case 5 will be terminated. Then the product will then again ask the user to choose another task. So it will then proceed to these statements again. So this time the left task is the number 6, which is to display all product records with discounts. So let's proceed to the case 6. So case 6 has this content. So first is to display on screen the products with discounts. Then proceed to the formula, which is the sales is equals to the running sales, or the car and the previous sales plus the total amount. So it's just the same formula with the case 5. Then it proceeds to the for loop. So the program will execute the first expression. So it states that x is equals to 0. So it means that x starts with 0. Then the same process, the program will check the condition. So x is less than storage. So from the expression 1, x starts from 0. So x is equals to 0. So is it 0 is less than storage? So as we all know, so as we can remember the previous cases, storage again is not equals to 0. So it has a value in it. It has a recorded values. So it means that storage is greater than 0. So x is less than storage. So this expression is true, then this body will be executed. So again, there is the if statement, which has the expression if expression or the condition. So the condition is if the discount, this operator means that not equal to 0. So it means that from all the previous products with discounts, or all the products, if the discount is not equal to 0, then these statements will be executed. So first is it will display product records. Then next is product ID, the name, the price, the discount, the quantity purchased, the sales, and the number of stocks. So again, there is this form, which means that that ID, or the product ID, belongs to the same structure, which is the structure of the product. So after that, the break will then applied, then the case 6 will be terminated. Since all the cases were executed and explained, so let's now try the program. So first, let's compile the program. So let's now run this program. So as you can see in the window, we have it says that this program does the following choices. So these are the choices, or the cases that we had discussed. So first choice is to input a new product record, to display all the existing products or the records, to make a purchase, to display the product record with the highest sales. Fifth is to display all product records with zero quantity or the out of stock products. Then the sixth is to display all product records with discount. So let's say, so first let's choose the first task. So it requires the ID. So let's say 1, name is A, price is 5, discount is 50. So this, it means the 50%. Then stocks is 3. Then that's it. So that's the case 1. So it is all about inputting the new records and storing it in a storage. So as I've said, after the break applied, then the continue will appear asking the user. So let's say 1 for yes. Then let's try the number 2. So as you can see, it's all about displaying all the previous records of the products that the user inputted. So we have the product ID 1, name A, price is 5, 50% off, discount, quantity purchased is 0 since we haven't purchased yet. Then sales is equals to 0 also. Then the stocks is 3. Then continue yes. Then let's try the case 6. First is it requires the product ID. After that, so let's say the product ID that we had on the records is 1. So it says that the product found. So the name is A, 5, 50% off. So the discounted amount was now calculated. So 5 times 0.50 is equals to 2.50. The quantity available or the stocks is 3. Say let's purchase 1 product. So the total amount is 2.50. Then let's try the case 4. Case 4. So as you can see, the product or the stocks available is equals to 0. So it means that it is out of stock or 0 quantity. So let's try the case 5. So the product with 0 quantity is the product ID with number 1 with stocks is equal to 0. So let's try the case 6. Case 6 is to display all product records with discount. So it detects if the product has a discount. So let's try. So the products with discounts is the product ID number 1. So the discount is 50% off. So as you can see, the program runs smoothly. So once again, I'm Urtal, and thank you for watching my video, and check out for more videos.